Your life could be completely transformed by landing the right remote job. And in today's video, I'm going to reveal 7 remote jobs that literally anyone can do in 2025, even with no experience and no resume. I discovered something that completely blew my mind. Right now, there are actually more remote jobs available than ever before, but most people don't know where to look. And the really crazy part, many of these jobs pay way more than you'd expect. So if you're excited to discover these accessible remote opportunities, make sure to gently tap that like button. It helps more people like you discover these life-changing job options, and it tells YouTube to share this video with others who are looking for their first remote position. So let's kick things off with our first exciting opportunity, and that is an associate Gold customer service representative. So Liberty Mutual Insurance is actively hiring for remote customer service positions. And this isn't just any customer service position. They pay much better than average, about $41,000 to $56,000 a year. But here's the really exciting part. They provide all the training and licensing you need. You literally don't need any insurance experience to get started. And there's many jobs you can go into down the line that pay even better after getting some initial experience in this first job. Now you might be wondering, what exactly would you be doing in this role? So let me break it down for you. In this position, you'll be taking calls from customers about their insurance. Now, don't worry, these aren't cold calls. These are people who already have insurance and they just need help. And they might be calling about their policy, maybe they need to make a change to their coverage, or they just have questions about their bill. And a typical day might look like this. You log into your computer from home, put on your headset, and you start taking calls. When someone calls in asking about their policy, you'll pull up their information and help guide them through whatever they need. Maybe they just bought a new car and need to add it to their policy, or maybe they're just moving and they need to update their address. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. And speaking of what you'll be doing, let's dive into your main responsibilities. First of all, you'll be focusing on 4 main areas: policy support, helping customers understand their coverage and make changes when needed; billing assistance, processing payments and explaining charges to customers; basic problem solving, finding solutions to common insurance issues; and coverage recommendations, occasionally suggesting additional coverage when it makes sense for the customer. Now, you might be wondering what qualifications you need for this role. Well, you need a high school diploma. That's it for education. You need to have basic computer skills. So if you can use Microsoft Office, you're already qualified. You also want to have good communication abilities. So if you can explain something to a friend, you can do this job. And a quiet place to work. This is crucial since you'll be on calls, although you can get sound canceling headphones as well. Now let's talk about the compensation, because this is where it gets really interesting. According to Glassdoor, CSRs for Liberty Mutual make about $47,000 to $73,000 a year. So what they have advertised is a little bit less than what you can make down the line. And like I said before, there's other positions you can move into where you can make even more money. But don't take my word for it. Let's share some real experiences from people who've worked there. I found some fascinating insights from current and former employees. One person who worked at Liberty Mutual Insurance shared that the company had great training programs, benefits, and pay. And another employee mentioned that the environment is productive and fun. Now here's why I'm so excited to share this opportunity with you. I think this position is great for beginners because Liberty Mutual actually prefers to hire people with no insurance experience. Why? Because they want to train you their way without any bad habits from previous jobs. Now, speaking of breaking into customer service roles, I want to share something that could fast track your success. I've created the Never Job Hunt Again 30 Days to a Killer Online Presence for Remote Professionals. And this 30-day plan will guide you to build your presence online, attract opportunities, and ultimately achieve success in your remote career. So click the link in the description and the pinned comment below to get started. It's completely free, and it reveals the system that I've used to help hundreds of people land jobs online. Now, let me introduce you to our next exciting opportunity, and that is an order entry associate. Now, this next one might be the easiest remote job to get in 2025, and here's why. Every single company that sells products needs someone to process orders, but most people don't even know the job exists. And the best part, most companies are actually struggling to fill these positions. And let me walk you through what your day-to-day work would actually look like. You'll be working from your computer at home, processing orders as they come in various sales channels. Think about every time you've ordered something online. Someone has to process that order, and increasingly, that person is working remotely. Let's break down the specific tasks you'll be handling. First of all, order processing, taking orders from the system and making sure they're entered correctly. Second, data entry, transferring information from one system to another. Also, accuracy checks, double checking order details to prevent mistakes. And finally, status updates, keeping the system current with the latest order information. Now you might be wondering what qualifications you need for this role. Well, the requirements are super basic. For instance, typing skills. If you can type this into Google, you're probably fast enough. Attention to detail. Being careful about accuracy is more important than speed. Basic computer knowledge. If you can use email and the internet, you're qualified. Reliable internet. You'll need a stable connection to access these systems. Now let's talk about the compensation. According to Glassdoor, an order entry associate earns $38,000 to $53,000 a year. And that's not very much money money, but like I said before, doesn't require a college degree, previous experience, and it's very easy to get into. And there's other positions you can go into down the line once you've got your foot in the door, especially if you work in certain industries or companies. Now, here's something really fascinating I discovered while researching this role. I found this interesting story on Reddit from someone in this exact position. An employee working in an order entry job was given the rare full access to UiPath because he was doing such a good job. And according to this person, he helped automate emails in a Google Sheet and a few odds and ends in his office. This means as an order entry associate, you can actually carve through a better career path like automation engineering or software development. Again, if you work for the right company or in the right industry. Now, here's why I'm particularly excited about this opportunity for beginners. First of all, it's very structured. You're following specific processes and there's usually a clear right and wrong way to do things. Plus, since you're not on the phone, you don't have to worry about customer service skills. And it's extremely easy to get into. Now, one resource that I always recommend to people whenever they email me when it comes to learning in-demand skills is taking some of the Google Professional Career Certificates. For instance, the Google Data Analytics Professional Certificate is phenomenal and it's going to teach you a bunch of seriously in-demand skills. And that's literally what these certificates are all about, is they teach you the skills that companies are actually looking for, not the 95% fluff that college usually teaches you. So I'll put that certificate as well as some other really good ones that I think would be good for you to learn in the description and the pinned comment below. You can click down there to check them out. Oh, and by the way, they offer a 7-day free trial, and after that, they're very affordable, about $40 a month. And you get access to thousands of courses. Now let me introduce you to our next opportunity, which offers an interesting twist on managing people, and that's a staffing coordinator. And this is basically a professional schedule manager. And here's what's exciting. More companies than ever are hiring remote staffing coordinators because they've realized this job can be done entirely from home. Let me show you what a typical workday looks like in this role. You'll be working from your computer, making sure everyone is scheduled for their correct shifts. And it's kind of like putting together a puzzle, but instead of pieces, you're working with people's schedules. Now let's break down your specific responsibilities. Schedule management, which means creating and maintaining employee work schedules. Availability tracking, which means keeping track of when people can and can't work. Gap filling, which is finding replacements when someone calls out sick. Record keeping, which is maintaining accurate scheduling records. And communication, which is sending updates about scheduling changes. Now you might be wondering what qualifications you need, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Because all you really need is organizational skills, basic computer skills, basic communication abilities, and the ability to multitask. Now let's talk about compensation. In this role, you'd make about $45,000 to $64,000 a year. And let me share some real world experiences from people who are doing this job right now. I found this fascinating post on Reddit about someone who took up a staffing coordinator position right out of college, right? So they did have a college degree, but they didn't have any previous work experience. And while they described it as not the best job in the world, it gave them valuable experience and knowledge in HR that allowed them to move to a more holistic and better position. And this is something that I tell people all the time. Your first job is likely not going to be your dream job. It's just that simple. When you first enter the workforce, you are not skilled labor. And I hate to be blunt, but it's the truth. So you're essentially getting paid to learn in-demand skills and getting paid to get skilled, which is actually a pretty sweet gig for you. But once you do have those skills, then you are in demand and you can get better jobs, higher pay, etc. And that means you can pick and choose what type of job you want to get. And it's kind of just the pilgrimage that everyone has to go through. Their first job is usually not going to be that great, and you just have to go through that pilgrimage. And once you are skilled, things get a lot better. Now, here's another interesting story I found on TikTok. This person worked as a full-time staffing coordinator and part-time customer support, and she does all this from home. And her typical day consists of clearing her emails and responding back to people. And she makes it seem relatively chill. Now, here's why this role is particularly well suited for those starting out. Most companies have their own specific scheduling software they use, so they expect to train you from scratch. In fact, having no experience can be an advantage because you won't have to unlearn systems from previous jobs. Now let me introduce you to an opportunity in healthcare that doesn't require any medical experience, and that is the patient care coordinator. And it's actually one of the most accessible healthcare jobs you can get remotely. You're essentially acting as a bridge between patients and their healthcare providers, helping coordinate care and ensure everything runs smoothly. Now, let me walk you through what your daily work would look like. Your day would typically involve helping patients navigate their healthcare journey, scheduling appointments, and following up on care plans. So think of yourself as a healthcare personal assistant. You're not providing medical advice, you're just helping make sure patients get where they need to go and have what they need. Now let's break down the specific responsibilities. Appointment scheduling, helping patients book and manage their medical appointments. Care coordination, making sure different healthcare providers are on the same page. Patient follow-up, checking in with patients about their appointments and care plans. Record management, management, keeping patient information organized and up to date, and basic administrative work, handling paperwork and data entry. Now let's talk about what you actually need to qualify for this role. First of all, basic organizational skills. Second, basic computer skills. Third, communication ability. And fourth, attention to detail. And when it comes to compensation, you make about $40,000 to $55,000 a year. Now let me share some real experiences from people working in this role. I found this great example of this person who supports patients and care teams by coordinating virtual visits, but they also provide technical support, handle clinical intake, and ensure patients are prepared for their telemedicine appointments. Now here's another interesting perspective I found on Reddit. A care coordinator asked if their 3 years of scheduling appointments and managing medication adherence counted as PCE hours, or patient care experience hours, which means direct hands-on patient care. According to the responder, their work is only considered to be HCE, which means healthcare experience, more like administrative healthcare work, and true enough, as a remote care coordinator, that's your work. But with that being said, you still are getting healthcare experience, and it's much easier for you to transition into other roles. But here's why this role is particularly great for those just starting out. Healthcare organizations provide comprehensive training on their specific systems and procedures. You don't need to know medical terminology or have healthcare experience. They'll often train you, teach you, and in some cases even get you the certificates or certifications that you might need in your state for that position, and all after you've already started with them. So you're basically getting paid to learn. And what matters most is your ability to stay organized and communicate clearly. And by the way, I'm curious, which of these beginner-friendly positions catches your interest? Let me know in the comments below which role you think would be perfect for starting your remote career. Now let me share an opportunity in the education sector that might surprise you, and that's an education technology sales representative. Now before you skip this one because it has the word sales in the title, let me tell you something that might surprise you. EdTech sales is completely different from what you probably think of as sales. You're not pushing products nobody wants. You're helping schools find solutions that they actually need. Let me show you what your day-to-day work would look like. Your day would involve connecting with schools and teachers who are actively looking for educational technology solutions. And these aren't cold calls to random people. These are conversations with educators who want to improve their classrooms and need your help finding the right tools. So let's break down your specific responsibilities. School outreach. You'd be connecting with schools that have shown interest in educational technology. Solution presentation. You'd be showing how different tools can help teachers and students. Need assessment. You'd be understanding what challenges schools are facing. Relationship building. You'd become a trusted advisor to educational institutions. Now let's talk about what you need to qualify for this role. And these are just the important things. First of all, you need good communication skills. You are going to be the bridge between two different companies, so you need to have excellent communication. You also need to have basic tech understanding. If you can use a smartphone and a computer, you're probably qualified. You also need to have a positive attitude because, again, you are the one who is the representative of your company, so enthusiasm really helps for educators. And you need to have a constant learning mindset. You need to be willing to understand educational products and continue learning as you get older. Now let's look at compensation because this is where it gets really exciting. You can make $78,000 to $142,000 a year. And the crazy thing is, you don't necessarily need to have any previous experience or a college degree, which is wild. Now, I found this fascinating post on Reddit about EdTech sales. This person works in EdTech and they focused on long sales cycles with high deal sizes. And they enjoy a strong company culture while aiming for significant earnings in the future. And they claim that they probably won't do it forever, but if they're able to eventually rake in up to $200K per year, they might stick to it forever. And here's why this role is perfect for those just starting out. Most EdTech companies provide extensive product training because they care more about your ability to connect with educators than your sales experience. Plus, the education market is generally much more receptive than other markets. So these people actually want to talk to you. Now let me introduce you to an unusual but incredibly stable opportunity that most people overlook. And that is a funeral sales representative. Yeah, I know, weird one. But hear me out. This is actually an incredible opportunity that most people overlook. The funeral industry is absolutely a necessary industry. And it's not only stable, but it's also recession-proof. And unfortunately, I think there's always going to be demand, as it's one of the two things that never goes away. Those two things being death and taxes. But it's also increasingly moving to remote work. And you would be connecting with funeral homes to help them access products and services that they need. And here's what makes this position unique. It's much more about building relationships than pushing sales, because funeral homes are always going to need supplies. Now let me break down what you'll actually be doing. Funeral home outreach. And this is building relationships with funeral directors. Product presentation, showing available products and services. Account management, maintaining ongoing relationships with clients. And order processing, helping funeral homes get what they need. Now here's what you need to succeed in this role. Professional communication. You need to be able to speak and write professionally. Basic computer skills. And this is for email and simple order processing. Independent work ethic, being able to manage your own schedule. And compassionate attitude, understanding the sensitive nature of the industry. Now let's talk talk about compensation, because in this position you can make about $54,000 to $86,000 a year. And again, this is with no skills, no experience, and no college degree. And let me share with you some real experiences from the field. I found an interesting discussion where someone asked about working as a cemetery salesperson, and a current employee responded that the job involves meeting sales quotas and commission-based pay, while emphasizing the importance of maintaining compassion over aggressive sales tactics. And here's why this role is particularly well suited for beginners. Because it's such a specialized industry, companies actually prefer to hire people with no sales experience and train them their way. That's something that I saw again and again when I was doing research for this video. There's just certain roles where companies would actually rather train you from scratch so that they can mold you the way that they want to. And they're really looking for people who can be professional and compassionate, not aggressive salespeople. So yeah, really interesting one that I came across and I thought I'd share it. Next, let me introduce you to a role that's experiencing explosive growth in the education sector, and that is online enrollment advisor. Now, with more people than ever pursuing online education, schools desperately need people to help guide prospective students through the enrollment process. And the best part, most schools provide complete training because they want you to understand their specific programs. So let me walk you through what your daily work would look like. Think of yourself as a guide for potential students. You'll be helping people understand different educational programs and guiding them through the enrollment process. And it's incredibly rewarding because you're literally helping people take the first step towards changing their lives. So let's break down your specific responsibilities. Program guidance, helping students understand different educational options. Application support, walking people through the application process. Question answering, explaining course requirements and scheduling. Documentation help, assisting with enrollment paperwork. And finally, follow-up, checking in with interested students. Now let's look at what you need to qualify for this role. Communication skills, being able to explain things clearly. Basic computer knowledge, email and simple document handling. Organization, keeping track of different applications. And patient attitude, helping people through important decisions. Now let's talk about compensation, because this is quite interesting. According to Glassdoor, an enrollment advisor earns about $57,000 to $83,000 a year. And let me share some real experiences from people in this role. I found this great example of an enrollment advisor who provides personalized guidance to students through the enrollment process. And they focus on building relationships and ensuring they understand each step without pressure or quotas. And here's why this role is perfect for those just starting out. Schools care much more about your ability to connect with potential students than any specific experience. In fact, they often prefer people who don't have previous enrollment experience because they want you to learn their specific way of doing things. So yeah, another one of those. Now, some of these don't require any previous experience. A few of them require a tiny bit of experience. And then some of them, it would really help if you had some skills at least. And like I said before, Coursera is the go-to recommendation for that. Links in the description and the pinned comment below. Definitely check them out. Again, there's a 7-day free trial, so you literally have nothing to lose. And also check out this video, 7 work from home jobs you can do right now with no experience, by clicking right here.